Icons.
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the search continues for a shooting suspect in Rockcastle County. And we feature a family-owned radio station in Letcher County that continues to share the oldies.
It's sunshine and mild temperatures to kick off the work week and the month of February, but things could change in a hurry. I'll have the very latest on the way right now at 5:30.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A Southern Kentucky man was shot during a robbery, and now the intruder is on the run. It happened last night in Rockcastle County. The intruder has a violent past and was even in prison for trying to murder a police officer. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more.
Around 11:30 Sunday night, state police were called to a home on Reverend Green Loop near Mount Vernon. A man had been robbed and shot in his home.
Well, the victim actually gave us a good description of who it was and actually knew who it was.
David Madden was treated and released from a local hospital. Police say the man who shot him is 44-year-old Woodrow Lamb.
Correct. I don't think the public should feel threatened or that this guy's going to come to their house. They knew each other, they were acquaintance, and, the victim was able to tell us who he was.
We have learned that Woodrow Lamb was arrested in September of 2001 on attempted murder of a police officer charges. Now, he did plead guilty to a lesser charge and served a 10-year prison sentence.
Last night, he is a convicted felon, and he is in possession of a handgun and actually shot somebody.
Others said that they were in the home when the robbery and shooting happened, but didn't want to tell us what took place. Police say no one should approach Lamb.
There is a fear factor. We're going to do everything we can and try to be safe and bring this to a resolution and to an end quickly as possible.
In Rockcastle County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Police say Woodrow Lamb left driving a gray Toyota Scion with the plate number 008PRC. We're learning new details about the man charged with shooting a state trooper in central Kentucky. 21-year-old Lee Quan Taylor was charged with attempted murder of an officer and assault, among other charges. Police say he shot a trooper Friday, hitting him at least 4 times. It happened at a mobile home park in Cynthiana. Today, Taylor appeared in court. His preliminary hearing is set for next Monday.
Well, it was a rather warm day around the mountains today, at least compared to where we have been. This is really where we should be this time of year in terms of temperatures, low to mid 40s out there. It's actually thanks to some of that sunshine. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and put the Big Sandy on sunset watch tonight. I-64 at Moorhead. We have some of those high clouds as that sun begins to set. So I think we're in for some nice western skies before the night is over. There into portions of Rowan County and even here in Perry County. Not looking too bad as it is. Mid 40s out there right now as that sun hits the horizon. It's looking pretty nice out there, especially as it starts to light up some of the undersides of those high clouds, turning those a bright reddish pink. Temperatures staying on the, average side, mid to upper 40s around the region. Still a 50-degree reading in Jacksboro, and we're a little bit cooler as we head over into portions of the Big Sandy, where they're in the lower 40s right now, 42 Pikeville and 43 in Logan. There's those high clouds pushing through the region. You can kind of see them right there in the middle of your screen there, the last couple of frames on satellite and radar. So we're going to continue to watch that. Already seeing some precipitation break out in portions of Illinois, but that's not really what we're keeping an eye on as we head towards the end, at least the second half of the work week. So go ahead and download that WYMT weather app if you don't have it already. This winter has been one to have it because we've got plenty of active weather on the way. Just scan that code in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You'll be taken to a link where you can download it. Once you open it, you'll find that temperatures tonight, as we calm down into the middle 20s, but things get a little more active as we finish out the work week. I'll have all the details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. While temperatures will surge early this week, all eyes are on the end of the week as yet another winter storm takes aim at the Commonwealth. So far this winter season, Alan Curtis with the Clark County Road Department says they've invested roughly more than 1,000 human hours in snow removal, with nearly all of those hours occurring in January. Operating with only a 10-man plow crew, crew members say the workload has not only strained them, but also their equipment and salt supply. Well, today, nearly 5,000 new COVID cases were reported in Kentucky, and for the first time in what seems like a while, the positivity rate is going down. Today, at just a bit more than 28%. While hopeful, the governor said last week was still the second highest week in cases since the pandemic began, and we are not out of the woods.
COVID's dangerous for a lot of reasons. It's dangerous for how many people it kills, the third leading cause of death. And when you're competing with cancer or heart disease, it means you are deadly. We're going to probably this week pass 13,000 total deaths, which means it's killed more people in a 2-year period than any 3 wars the Kentuckians have fought in combined.
Governor Beshear was also concerned with the number of hospitalizations, saying that they are still nearing a record high. Some of you may have stumbled across 97.5 FM when driving through Letcher County, broadcasting oldies music for more than 40 years. WYMT's Chas Jenkins gives us the history of WNKW.
We know oldies.
Thank you for listening.
Started by Thomas Abdu, who began his radio career back in the 60s.
These guys came to his house and knocked on the door, and his mom came downstairs, and it was 2 guys from the FCC, and he had built a radio in his room and was broadcasting over the air.
Building his legacy for decades, passing it down to friends and family.
He's like, I want to go over how to access everything. I want to show you where the DJ app lives and what the passwords are, so that you could log in if you need to. And then he actually passed away that next summer.
Keeping it going inside a broom closet at Jenkins City Hall.
Thought we would maybe do it for a year, and then the next thing you know, it's turned into 3 years, and we're still going. So we're going to try to keep it, just the way it is. We're not here to make a big bunch of money or do anything like that. We just want to keep the station on the air.
Airing a unique style of music across the mountains.
You don't hear that too much anymore. I think when I was younger, you'd hear the 50s and 60s channels a lot more, and now I think that's starting to fade. And so it's nice to keep it going.
Wanting to someday expand into a better studio and broadcast farther.
You got to be careful because you step on other frequencies, and we have one down around Somerset down that way is close to what the same frequency we are. So you got to be careful in the way you broadcast, so you don't step on somebody's toes.
Forever a part of the Sunshine Radio Network. In Letcher County, Chas Jenkins, WYMT Mountain News.
Bolling says they plan to host several fundraisers during the summer to help with some planned expansions. For now, you can listen to WNKW through Letcher, Pike, Harlan, Knott, and Perry counties. An electric car-related operation will build a facility in Kentucky, creating 200 full-time jobs. Governor Andy Beshear says the $95 million Louisville plant will be Quadrant's first mass production facility in the United States. Beshear says the facility will manufacture rare earth magnets. Those magnets are made from alloys of rare earth elements, and those are used in electric vehicle motors and other fields, including electronics, appliances, alternative energy, and medical use. Quadrant was founded in 1992 and is headquartered in San Diego. Now we begin our news across the country in Washington, D.C., where governors from more than half the United States met with President Biden at the White House today. The chair of the National Governors Association, Asa Hutchinson, said state leaders want to move away from the pandemic. Nationwide, the number of daily COVID cases is on the decline, down by more than half since the peak of the Omicron surge. Meanwhile, Novavax has applied for emergency use authorization of its COVID-19 vaccine in the U.S., and Moderna announced that federal health regulators gave full approval to its 2-dose shot today. The economic impact of the pandemic is reaching new heights for some small business owners. With concerns over the Omicron variant and inflation, more than 1,700 owners believe policies in the Build Back Better Act will help them, and they want Congress to take action. As our Washington News Bureau's Nicole Newman reports, if lawmakers fail to act, It could mean trouble for them in the midterm elections.
As Democrats in Congress work to revive the Build Back Better Act, some small business owners like Tierra Flynn say they're watching federal lawmakers closely. Flynn owns Some New Marketing in Las Vegas.
What small business owners like myself and others that some of my peers would like to see is just a continuation. Everything that was kind of done in response to the global pandemic.
According to a new national survey, 62% of small business owners believe policies in the Build Back Better Act would ease inflation issues. 63% think they would help address employee shortages. Frank Knapp Jr. is a Small Business for America's Future co-chair.
Things that are perennial are healthcare costs. The Build Back Better Act has a way of capping many of the prescription drug prices to help drive down healthcare costs.
Knapp says other issues the legislation could help include labor shortages and child care costs. Lawmakers say legislation in the failed Build Back Better Act would have prevented nearly all families of four earning up to $300,000 from paying more than 7% of their income on child care. The child care proposal was part of the Education and Labor Committee's portion of the Build Back Better Act. The committee is unclear how a revised version of the legislation will have an impact. But Flynn says if lawmakers fail to act on the legislation, it could impact her vote in the midterm elections.
If Congress feels like that's not the answer specifically, then we just want to know as small business owner what is.
When a revised version of the Build Back Better Act will be ready for lawmakers to vote on remains unclear. In Washington, I'm Nicole Newman.
Athletes are in a race to stay clear of COVID, with dozens of cases reported in the tightly controlled Olympic bubble designed to keep competitors safe. Some 3,000 athletes from around the world will take part in the Winter Games beginning later this week. They will have to wear masks and be tested daily for the virus. Beijing has reported its highest number of COVID-19 cases in 18 months, less than a week before the Games begin. North Korea released still photos of yesterday's launch of an intermediate-range ballistic missile from a mobile car near the Chinese border, as well as pictures it says were taken in space from a camera on the missile. Japanese officials say the missile launch threatens the peace and security of the country, the region, and the international community. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, with the cost of groceries increasing, tracking down deals can be a challenge. We'll share with you some tech tips on how to save.
And things have been mild to start this work week off, but will the weather stay quiet as we head into the second half of the week? I'll have that answer straight ahead.
WYMT News.